Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Now today we're going to be taking a look and talking about this thing. This is the DPVR E4 Black virtual reality headset. Now what I'm going to talk about today is very specific because I'm only using it for sim racing. So please bear that in mind. Now in this video I'm going to talk about what the headset's like to use in general for sim racing and would I recommend it. But before we get into the video, the necessary disclaimer, DPVR sent me this for free to test, have a look at and share my experience with you guys. So I didn't pay for it, although they don't see this video before it's published and they've got no input at all in relation to what I say. And I'm not affiliated with DPVR in any way, shape or form. There's no affiliate links. There's no kickbacks. If you buy one of these, I don't get a penny. And as always, I'll say that I'm not a product reviewer. That's not what I do. I'm just a sim racer. And when I get sent a product, I look at it as if I'm going to buy it with my own money. And as such, there are only four things that I'm really interested in. Firstly, how does it look? Because if it doesn't look right in the first place, I'm not going to buy it. Secondly, what's the build quality like? Thirdly, how does it perform? And finally, is it value for money? So first of all, let me give you some specs on the VR headset. It's compatible with PC only and it runs through Steam VR. It says it's got IPD adjustment, which is how you adjust the lenses depending on how wide your eyes are or how narrow they are. But we'll talk about that more a little bit later. It's got an LCD screen with a resolution total of 3664 by 1920. It's got 116 degrees field of view and it's got inside out tracking. So that means that there are no sensors. It's all done on the headset. You might be able to see there are a few little sensors dotted around the headset. You can just see on the bottom there. So there's no need for any sensors like you used to have back in the old days. And they say it weighs 280 grams without the head strap. Again, I'll talk about that a little bit more later. And it's connected via DisplayPort. So it's DisplayPort 1.4, which means 120 hertz. So into the PC, you've got the DisplayPort and one USB cable. But further down the cable, which is 6 meters long, by the way, you have a small box where you would fit a power supply. So it does have to be plugged in as well to the wall and USB and DisplayPort to the PC. Now, I'll cover this whilst we've got the cable in hand. So DPVR say that it's 280 grams without the head strap. Well, weight doesn't really matter for me because I'm sitting down in the sim rig using it. But with the cable, it weighs a lot more than 280 grams. It's 6 meters long. So if you are standing up using this, you are going to feel the weight of this cable tugging on to the back of the headset. Now, also on this cable, you have a small audio input there, so you can plug in some headphones. Now, there are some accessories that you get with this, depending on when you buy it. So on their website now, it says in July, if you bought this, you would get these things, which are protectors for glasses, for spectacles that you put over the lenses. You would also get a set of headphones, which I've got there in the packet. And you would also get some cable clips. But that is on the website from July, so I don't know if that's still an offer. So let's talk about the headset. Now, there's a couple of really cool features that I like about this headset, which are a positive and a negative. So one of the cool features is that it's got a flip up front. So if I take off my headset and I put the VR headset on, well, I can then, if I want, just flip that up and I can have a look at what's going on. You can just about see me there, but there is an issue. It doesn't go back where it was. There, it's not, my eyes are in the center of the top. So I can't literally see the screen. I've got to reposition it and put it back on. So it doesn't just flip forwards and backwards. It's a bit of a pain. So although that is a really nice feature, it doesn't work for me as I would expect it to. I would think that you would flip that up and then it would just flip back over your eyes. But that's not the case. You flip it up, then you've got to put it down, lift it off your eyes, put on and reseat the headset. So that doesn't work as I would have liked. And there's another thing. The back of the headset, there is a bit of padding there. When you put that on your head normally, in the stock position, it sits too high on my head at the back. So I have got to reposition this padding, which is easy. It's just Velcro. So I've got to reposition that and lower it down just so this is a little bit further down and it catches on the back of my head. Now, in the headset itself, there is this foam padding. So this is an optional extra. It doesn't come with that, but that's magnetic. We can take that out. I'll give you a quick look at the lenses inside, and I'll show you what comes as stock. We've got this thing. This is like a little rubber insert, and it's got little press stud type things in. I'll just fit that inside. Just takes 2 seconds. They just literally pop in. So that is with the rubber insert. But I found when wearing this, my nose just goes in there and it touches the lenses, which makes it a little bit uncomfortable. And there's also another insert, which is rubber. Rubber, but magnetic also. So I'll put that in there. So that's very similar, but that's got a rubber finish. So it makes it probably a little bit easier to wipe down for those sweaty VR sessions. But yeah, this one is a little bit harder than this one. This one is much more comfortable, foam much softer. This one's a bit harder and it lets a little bit more light in. So there is a bit of foam padding at the front of the headset, just on there. That can be removed if you wish. It's just held on with Velcro if you wanted to take it off and wipe the headset down. Now, I mentioned earlier on about IPD adjustment. So if you look at the lenses on quite a number of VR headsets, you can actually adjust the distance these lenses are away from each other to match up with your pupils. Everybody's eyes are obviously in a different position. This doesn't have true IPD adjustment. It's all done within the software. And to be honest, it didn't really make that much of a difference to me. When I've used headsets previously, you can actually adjust the IPD. On the Oculus, for example, there was a lever underneath. You could move that and you could actually see the lenses moving. Here, it's all done in the software, which I'll show you in a little while. And to be honest, it didn't really do much. And there's a head strap on the top with Velcro, just so you can make adjustments to make it nice and snug on the top of your head. So as I mentioned, it's got a resolution of 3664 by 1920. But in Steam VR, they do some calculations, so the actual resolution is a little bit lower than that. And I've got to be honest, if you're running this at 100% resolution in Steam VR, it looks pretty bad. For me to get a really nice image in this headset, I had to have it around about 350%, which is a lot of pixels. I'll just plug this headset in and then I can show you some details on the screen, which might make things a little bit more clear. So I'll give you a quick look at the DPVR software. So this is their software suite. You can see the controllers are connected, the headset's connected. You can set up your room perimeters in here, etc. Hardware setup tells you how to do it all. Dead straightforward, nothing that you wouldn't have seen before. But if we click on the headset, you go down to settings. You can see here there are 3 options with regards to the display. So 72 Hertz, DisplayPort 1.2 or HDMI 2.0 or higher. For 4K 90 Hertz, you must have DisplayPort 1.4, and for 4K 120 Hertz, DisplayPort 1.4. And down here you have got your IPD adjustment, which I mentioned is just in the software. Here you can change the RGB lighting on the front of the headset itself. It does have some nice cool little LED lights on the front. But the software is actually pretty straightforward to use. And once you set it up in that software, you don't need to make any other adjustments. You can't make any changes to the resolution in there. It's all done in Steam VR. I'll show you that now. So we'll open up the settings in Steam VR. And as you can see there, the 100% resolution only gives you 1800 by 1800 pixels per eye. To take it up to where DVPR say their resolution is. It was about 1920, wasn't it? Yeah, so 114%. For me to get an acceptable image, I've got to wind this all the way up to at least 350%. And that's 3364 by 3364. That gives us a resolution of 6728 by 3364. And that's great. What a resolution that is. But we're running 120 hertz. If you wanted to run that resolution at 120 hertz, well, you've got to have a really good computer. Companies mention the DisplayPort and 120 hertz because you automatically think, oh, this headset's going to run at 120 hertz. It won't if you don't have the hardware. Thankfully, I'm running a really good system, so I'm on an i9 14900K, 96 gigabyte of RAM with an RTX 4090. And on iRacing, which is the simulator that I use, well, I've got to turn most of the eye candy off to get 120 hertz. Yes, I could move the resolution down to 100%, 150%, but it doesn't look great. And if it doesn't look great, I'm not going to use it. So you've got to make some compromises if you want the higher frame rates. The higher the frame rates, the higher the resolution, the less bells and whistles that you're going to have on in the simulator. So we'll start talking about the points that I mentioned. Firstly, looks. I think it looks really, really good. There is an LED light on the front. You probably can't see it. Excuse my dirty fingerprints, but there is a small LED light on there. You can probably just see it there. That's a nice little feature. Now, on to build quality. I think it's actually built pretty well as far as VR headsets goes. There's always going to be some movement because it does need to be semi-flexible because it's going to be fitting on, you know, potentially thousands of people's heads. So it does have to have a little bit of play so it fits on your head. But build quality, I think it feels okay. The Velcro on the headset is nice and sticky, which is what you want. I don't think that's going to fail. These covers come in and out nice and easily, dead straightforward. The lens cover things here, they just sit on, dead straightforward. So that's one on there. Hopefully you can see that. That's one on there. They're just on there to protect your glasses or the lenses so your glasses don't come into contact with the lenses. So yeah, build quality, I think it's okay. I think it's as good as you would expect from a headset at this price point. Now on to performance. I think it performed reasonably well. The image quality at 100% in Steam VR, like I mentioned, isn't the best. I had to up the resolution to get an acceptable level of detail in the simulator. But of course, that comes at a cost. You need a really good computer to get the most out of it. So although it's 1.4 DisplayPort and 120 hertz, if you haven't got the hardware, you're not going to get that. And the IPD adjustment, as far as I could tell, didn't really do anything. Now, there is a small fan inside here, which kicks in from time to time just to cool everything down. When you've got a headset on, you can't hear it. But if you don't have the headset on, you can hear the fan whirring away. It's got built-in speakers into the headset, just on there and on there. And they're rubbish. You don't want to use the built-in audio on this. You want to plug in a set of headphones. If you don't have any separate ones, plug a set of headphones into the 3.5mm jack there, because that is terrible. And the microphone isn't great either. So if you're using this, you want to use a separate audio device entirely. On to price, for this headset, it's going to cost you £479. It's a lot of money. And I wouldn't mind spending £479 on a headset if the performance was there. I don't think it is with that. I had to up the resolution to 350% in Steam VR to get an acceptable level of detail. And I found the headset uncomfortable. And that's one of the key things that you need in a VR headset. It's got to be comfortable. I found that my nose, and I haven't got a massive hooter, I'm not Barry Manilow, but my nose was actually pushing into this small rubber there and actually touching the lenses. Hopefully you can see that there. Sorry, I should have done this elsewhere, but my nose was actually in there, the bridge of my nose, and it was actually quite painful. It's all right for half an hour, but any more than that, it was really uncomfortable. So for short 10, 15-minute sessions, I think it would be fine. But for me, sim racing, where my races are sometimes 30 minutes, an hour, I wouldn't want to be wearing that for an hour. Now, I feel really bad criticising a product when it's been sent to me for free, but I've got to be honest. I think it looks okay. I think build quality is okay. I think performance is okay if you've got the hardware to run it. And I think the price is not too bad. That's what you would expect to pay for a VR headset in 2024. But the biggest thing for me, which puts me off this headset, is the comfort. What's the point in a VR headset if it hurts when you put it on your head? Not the head. Hurts my nose. If you've got a tiny little nose, you'll be fine. So yeah, I feel really bad picking fault at products, but I've got to be honest. So would I spend my own money on this headset? The answer would be no. But I want to say thank you to DPVR for sending me this out to test and have a look at. I will still use it. Don't get me wrong. I will still use it and I will push through the pain barrier to create some content, but it will only be for 15, 20 minutes at a time. But I'll leave a link down below in the description if you want to go and check it out, find out some more information. As always, thanks for watching. Have a great week. See you later. Cheers.